Welcome back. Today's guest is one of those guys who is dialed in. I'm talking about consistency. I'm talking about community. No gimmicks, no egos, just a gym that shares real values. He has the coaching certifications. He has the degree in nutrition. He was a college athlete. He is an awesome coach. He preaches the consistency. He preaches the community. He is an owner of On Target Fitness. Today, we're going to talk about behavior change. We're going to talk about movement. We're going to talk about the giddy up. My guest today, Ryan Yurista.
Thank you very much for that intro. I knew I was going to get a giddy up, so there's you.
I knew I was going to get a giddy up. Yeah, man, I've been looking forward to having you on the show for some time. My audience knows that I've been training with you guys over at On Target in Portsmouth and Kingston. I train in the Portsmouth location, and they see my progress and they see what I've been able to do, and I'm very grateful to you guys and the programs that you've built over there because I'm getting stronger.
You certainly are. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, bigger, faster, stronger, man. It's really cool too, the culture that's built over there, and I can't wait to get into that today because I think that's something that people miss a lot of the time is the community aspect of it. I was reading one of your blog posts about how, like, if you can go to the gym. And I am a guy who goes to the gym by myself sometimes. I have another gym membership separate of On Target, and I'll go there sometimes. And it's nice to work on some stuff by yourself. And sometimes you can be, quick, and it's good, and you can just get in and out. But for some of us, there's a huge missing piece to it. And you always, when I was a kid, I would always be like, there was always one guy at the gym who was just always there and chatting with everybody. If someone needed a spot, he was coming to give you a spot. And if somebody was, needed a little bit of help, with maybe their form, he was there to help out with the form. And like that was like, that's the giddy up. That's what I want. And I want you to just speak about that a little bit because it's something that you guys, cultivate and do a great job of over at On Target.
I think, one of those missing pieces for a lot of people is that community aspect where, like, some people, when they go to the gym, they maybe want to get a workout. But if it's the gym or if it's the place you go to exercise, people are into pickleball these days, or whatever it is, golf, you thrive on getting that energy from people. And just having some of those social connections, because it's really important. And so when we're, always when we're like thinking about building the gym and trying to create that space for people, that's always a super important part of what we do. We have to be inclusive. We have to understand that people need that. And we've been really lucky. Our members are we've never had an issue with that. Like, everybody is always like super supportive. They want to see people win. And I think that's something that we've been lucky with at our gyms.
Yeah, some people can build a following, and a following is when people, you tell people, this is, you're going to come here to do this, and we're going to do it together, and that's a great thing, and they love it. And it's community is when those people who come to that event or come to that same thing, and then they interact together. They're interacting together, and I see that all the time. I hear from people who I'm working out with. I mean, I'm doing it. I'm interacting with with people outside of the gym and becoming friends with them, and getting dinner, having people on the podcast, and people are always talking about that too, with how they're hanging out. See you this weekend. See you here, they're going to each other's events and stuff. And that's community, when people actually hang out with each other outside of what they'd come to do at your spot.
Yeah, or at least express some sort of interest in learning about the other people. I mean, I went to grad school a few years ago now, and like one of the I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but self-determination theory, it's a theory of motivation. So one of the tenets of it is relatedness. And it's just this idea of like being with people that have similar goals as you and feeling like you belong in the community, that tribe, however you want to frame it. And so when I was in grad school and I was looking at that going, well, that's probably an important piece of, building a successful environment for somebody. So that's why we always try and pay attention to those things.
Self-determination theory?
Yep.
What were you in grad school for?
So you mentioned I have a nutrition degree. I went to grad school for sports psychology and performance. And then there was an emphasis on positive coaching and leadership. So it was a really cool online program that I did. Really versatile, a lot of like business aspects with it as well. But so a lot of it is just like, how do you coach people? How do you manage people? So that was one of the big foundations of it.
Do you like, is it something that you adhere to and practice, self-determination theory?
Well, I think so. There's 3 tenets of it.
I want you to teach me about it.
Yeah. So there's relatedness, like we talked about, which is like that whole, like being part of a community, right? And feeling like you belong. There's autonomy, which is being able to make your own decisions and have some empowerment that way. And then there's the whole competence piece. Competence is essentially like learning and acquiring skills and feeling like you're well, right? So if you have those 3 things in place, it's going to be more than likely that you're actually going to be motivated to pursue that activity or that thing or that job, whatever it is.
Now, so is that something that you, within coaching, you're trying to create programs where people can have those three things? They have the autonomy, they have the relatedness, and then you're teaching them a skill that they're kind of learning as they go. I mean, I've definitely gotten better at it as I've gone. You understand, oh, this is what I'm supposed to put my leg here. I'm supposed to have my weight back here. I'm supposed to have my breath in this pattern with this type of lift. So it's self-determined. Like, what is self-determination? What does that mean? What does self-determination mean?
It's basically like a feeling of self-efficacy, right? Where like you're like pursuing your own life, and a lot of people lose that along the way. So if we're trying to motivate people, I mean, a gym is a good place to do that, and it kind of has those 3 things baked in. And so if we pay attention to that, it's going to be really helpful for somebody that's trying to go through some sort of behavior change, weight loss, get in shape, whatever the goal set might be.
With like weight loss, that's a good one, because they have a goal. Someone has a goal, but it's not necessarily, just from knowing you and understanding some of your blogs and your writing, and that's not the learning is what's more important, right? The learning, the growth pattern and how we learn how to learn, opposed to like just having the outcome is more important. Like the value should be on learning.
Yeah, and that you're touching on like sort of like the difference between like task and ego orientation. So like what we preach a lot at the gym and what we try and teach our people is just, focus on processes and focus on the learning, focus on practice and repetition, and you're going to get a lot out of what you're doing here. But sometimes what ends up happening is if you become more oriented ego way, not egocentric, but it's just the psychological term. It's a little bit short-sighted, and it's not like long-term thinking. So that's where, like the quick fix stuff, the lose 30 pounds in 3 days workouts, like the all of that wacky extreme stuff, like that's why people try that, because the goal orientation is a little bit different there.
Do you, when a client comes in and asks like, hey, I want to lose weight, Is that something that people come to you for? Because it's you guys are based in strength, but is that some of the goals that some people have is they want to lose weight?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's always, for many people, will be part of the equation. We hear a lot these days is like, I need to get strong and I want to focus on longevity. And so we try and teach people those things. But yeah, if like people can lose a little bit of weight, they're always a little bit happy about it too.
Weight is so funny because going through the process, exactly what you're going through. Like I used to weigh 270 pounds, and I started doing yoga, and I started just feeling really good in my body, and started going through the process of doing yoga and doing hot yoga and going, and I never thought about losing weight. Not like literally not once. I just was like, this feels so good in my body. This is what I want to do every day. And I didn't even really notice like the transformation that I was going through until I like went to go put on a jacket, for the next summer, and I was like, need new clothes.
Yeah.
I can't wear this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. And it's like, it just completely changed the way, because before I did think of, there was a time period in my life where I just was conditioned to think about weight, and that weight was important. And it's like, now it's something that I only want to work out and do all this stuff so I can live a longer life and be more present in my life right now, and be able to play with my kids and, do it now. And when I'm a grandfather, I want to be able to sit on the ground and do, just get up from my hips and my knees and do a little Turkish get up with the kid,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the important stuff. And that's all task oriented stuff. That's going to help you a lot more long term. Because as soon as what happens when you hit that number, and I'm not saying shooting for goals, and weight loss goals is bad. I think that's important. It can be a powerful motivator. But if you also look at all the trickle down effects from pursuing an exercise routine, from working on your nutrition long term, you're going to get a lot of those benefits too, which is great, right? Being able to play with your kids is a powerful motivator as well.
Yeah, you're right. And you do get some of the other benefits of looking, the aesthetics and looking better, and getting the muscles thing is a thing. Not and it's because I didn't care necessarily about losing the weight, but now that I've put on some muscle and my structure is changing a little bit, I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice. I kind of like these muscles. These are good.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean, makes you want to continue to do it.
Right. Yeah.
You've been successful at it.
It's almost like the autonomy thing, right? Like I've taken the autonomy, and self-determination to build those muscles and to do it. And now I've gained confidence from it. I've gained, okay, this is something cool. This is, what I'm doing is the right thing, and I want to keep doing it because it makes my body feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you started off, because I think the small group coaching is really great. I think that model is just amazing. It's like it was the guy who, like I said, used to be at the gym and was just always there helping everybody out. And now it's become this beautiful business model, and way more juiced up because people are trained, and you guys you're seeing so many clients and so many people. How did you start your career in fitness and in training?
Very good question. So essentially, I went to school. Well, first step was I went to school for nutrition, basically because I knew I wanted to be in some realm of human performance. I always been into nutrition. I always had been into training, but then playing college soccer, I injured my knee. So that whole rebuilding process, rehab, kind of rebuilding my body so I could play again, because I kind of had a short timeline. I had to get ready for the next season, so I could actually transfer after and continue to pursue that. But basically that opened my world to the whole other side of training, right? Where it's not just about muscles, right? It's about moving fast and athleticism and things like that. So that was kind of how I got into it. And then, basically after school, I just decided I didn't want to do the dietitian thing. And I just wanted to work more on the preventative side of the house and just work with everyday people. and just help them with their fitness goals. I seem to have a knack for it, and I just started my career at a big health club in Manchester. That was a big jump for learning for me because I was like a little bit of an introvert. I still am, but like I had to learn how to get better at like talking to people. And I'm still not the best at it. I gotta flex those muscles every now and again, but like at the same time, it took a little bit. I got good at it, and then worked there for about 4 years. So it's good.
Yeah, what a thing to think about too. Like we were starting in, when we were training in high school, they were starting to do more plyometrics and stuff like that. So the ideas were starting to be percolated in there and like with athletes. But it is, strength training is about being faster and about being able to jump higher. And, that's why we're building muscles. I know that I think I can jump higher now than I used to be able to jump when I was a kid. And maybe that's not true, but I can jump pretty high right now, man. It's because I'm getting stronger.
Yeah, I mean, you should keep telling yourself that story. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it is. It's about the stories that we tell ourselves 100%. If you could have better stories.
If it keeps you doing it. Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like getting, I was at a graduation party this past weekend, and all these kids were playing basketball, and it was awesome. And I was like, hey, man, I think I can still touch the rim.
Did you do it?
Touch the rim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was so good. It was so good. So that's really cool. And so then you were training on your own, and then you to make the next jump, you wanted to, you decided that you were gonna, have your own gym, and you met Alec around, at some point. Alec's a great Alec. You guys check out the Alec. You guys know Alec. He's been on the show. He's awesome. Check out the Alec Lieberman episode. He's a giddy up.
Yeah.
We love Alec.
We sure do. Yeah, no, so it kind of didn't happen like that. Basically, like when I realized that I was making a long commute to go work at that health club, when I realized that it was time for me to go, I had already connected with Alec through some mutual friends, and I just kind of sent him my resume. And Alec is like, everybody knows Alec, like he kind of called me 5 minutes later, and I was just like, hey, I'm at work, and I just talk to you later. And it was funny, just like the way it all happened, because we just connected on, like vision and like the type of clients we wanted to work with, and what we saw for the future. And he was, trying to build the gym from the ground up, and I was somebody that had a lot of experience working with the types of people that we could get in the door. And so we just kind of hit it off, and we've been working together for 8.5 years now. So it's been really good.
Yeah, it's when you can find somebody, who, a good partner who has a different skill set but has the same vision as you. It's like that's the ultimate.
Well, that's exactly it. It's like he's really good at the stuff that I'm not great at, and I'm like more of like a how do I put this? I'm like detail oriented. Like I'm more of like a programmer, and like makes sense. I write a lot of the programs at the gym, and like because I just like strategically can figure out how that all works, and so he needed help with that, and like it's just been really good because he's much more of like a big thinker, like long-term strategic things, and he's also really savvy with all the business stuff too. So that's been really, really fun. And I get to kind of do the other thing, which is like coach people and help them in other ways.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And like, just getting to know you guys and getting to know your business and seeing it. It's really what, that's how it should work, is you're both working so that the other person can put the best of themselves out there. You know what I'm saying? Their best skills, their best qualities. You get that's what I think is like the real giddy up, is when you get to share that with other people. You figure out what your gifts are, and then you get to go share that with the world. I think that's the ultimate giddy up. And that's what you guys do, and when you run a business together with somebody, and partnerships are hard, but to find the right one is, I think you guys are doing it.
Yeah. Thank you. We obviously work really hard at it. And I, like you said, having a team is really important, because when you kind of all, I guess, put the team ahead of yourself, we all work really hard for each other, and that's really important as well.
You got a great staff.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Got a great staff over there. They're awesome. They're super, well informed, well educated on the, teaching me how to lift weights, and also being pleasant and fun and awesome people.
Right, and the second part is the thing that we can't teach. So that's really important. It's like, you kind of got to care about what you're doing. You have to be pleasant, be nice. Those are all qualities that sometimes you can't teach in people.
Yeah, sometimes you can't teach it, and it's funny because you're coaching. I go in there and I get coached by you guys, and you have your coaches, but you have all the people that are coming in, the coaches, you're coaching them.
Oh yeah, that's one of the cooler parts of my job. I get to try and develop the coaches and help them where they need help. Now I get to do it at 2 gyms, which is really cool.
How's that going? How's the second gym in Kingston going?
Yeah, really good. I mean, it's only been for a little over a year, so no complaints on my end. That staff has gone through some turnover, and had to learn and figure that whole thing out. But that's just part of operating a business, honestly.
How often are you there?
I go down there once a week.
Okay.
Yeah, typically. I'm there a lot more right now because one of the staff over there is on vacation.
Okay. I got to come down to Kingston. I got to check it out and see it. I haven't seen that location yet.
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah,
No.
Yeah, cool. And it's so funny because you're just thinking about you being at a different gym because you're always at the Portsmouth gym is.
It is a trip. It's been weird to adjust to because I've been at Portsmouth for so long. Now that I'm kind of getting in a rhythm coaching down there for, it's been 3 days or so, but it's fine. Yeah, it's just a little bit different.
There's you guys are doing there's some changes going on at the Portsmouth gym, right?
Yeah, big remodel. It's going to be sweet.
And that's awesome. When do you think that will be complete?
At the end of the summer. Cautiously optimistic, but you know how construction projects go. So
construction projects and just business in general, it's always it's funny. It's like ebbs and flows. Sometimes things are going really fast and everything's good, and then you hit a little bit of a bump, and then things get slowed down a little bit, and then you then you get juiced up a little bit again. They get over that second hump, and you kind of just learn how to exist in that, and whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, and we're patient, and Alec has had to shoulder a lot of that, just trying to plan for that and manage what to expect. And, we're thinking about, all right, what do we need to do here for all the people at the gym? What do we need to do over here? Making sure all that stuff, because we're still planning to operate throughout it. So that's been a big part of the planning process, I guess we'll say.
For sure. Do you bring in a lot of the stuff that you learned within your nutrition degree, and do you bring that a lot of that into the work that you're doing at the gym?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's all helpful, but really with nutrition, we try and keep things really simple. For most people, it's not how do I put this nicely? For most people, it's not really the what to do. Most people know what they need to do from a nutrition standpoint. It's very rare that people are uneducated, at least a little bit, about nutrition, right? But it's more like the practice and execution that people struggle with. So we just come up with, simple plan for them to follow. And then if they need help or they hit one of those speed bumps, we try and coach them through it. So like I said, we don't make things super complicated on the nutrition front.
Yeah, I think that's another tenet that you follow is simplicity, is making it simple for people and having people not overthink it. There's not all this stuff that you have to do. Just kind of move your body and eat real food, and you should get healthier.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Pareto principle, right? Like if you do the simple things really well, that's probably going to be like the 80% of your results, and I think for most people, we're already like stressed out with our normal jobs. I luckily don't have a quote unquote normal job, but at the same time, I think like for most people that aren't into fitness, right, they're going to struggle with it. We have to keep things simple so they can actually go and execute. If we don't, we make it too complicated, they're going to constantly feel like they're failing, which is not what they're doing. People are, they have families, they have kids, they have other things and obligations that they have to attend to. So fitness can be a small but powerful part of their life. It doesn't have to be the entire thing.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it doesn't have to be your whole life, because it's like sometimes when people get into it, they think they have to make it their whole life, and they have to, and it's like it's nice if you can learn over time. It's like that's how I go. I'm learning a lot over time from all the fitness that I do. I'm learning like what foods make my body feel better, because I've just been consistent. I've been consistent in coming to the gym and knowing like, and that's how I figure out how food is good for me. It's like, oh, this hurts my belly afterwards and it doesn't give me as much energy as I had yesterday, and I can compare that. Maybe that food is not ideal for me. Maybe that that donut isn't ideal for me. Maybe that's not, and it's not usually that I'm being hyperbolic, in that using the donut example, but it can even be something as like that brand of oatmeal, or that brand of I don't eat oatmeal, but that brand of protein powder that makes me feel this way. I need to now just like rethink about that. But I think you said something that's really important, is that people, they do know it's healthy for them. They do know, it's about the practice and the execution. It's really hard to practice and it's not, I shouldn't say it's really hard. I don't want to say that to anybody, because it's people are afraid to like, they think that it's more expensive to eat healthy, and they think that it's, harder. It's like almost impossible because it's going to take up all of your time, which it can be more expensive, and it can, although if you go to like McDonald's or, Burger King right now, it's, you're going to spend so much money. I bet you're better off going to the, going off to the grocery store and just getting real food. But there's a big barrier for people to get over that hump, and sometimes that would even include me, somebody who cooks a lot of his own meals and does a lot of his own stuff. Sometimes I think like, oh man, this is a hard practice.
Yeah, well, especially if you've been doing things a certain way for such a long time, that you're only subject to what you know. So like some people might need to be a little bit educated on, hey, here's how to go through a grocery store and like look at food labels, simple things like that. But we all kind of know like, hey, fruits and vegetables, good. I mean, the internet will have you believe otherwise. Like, no, don't eat bananas. But I think like if you keep things relatively simple for people, and then you kind of help them over the long term and play the long game with them, then like you said, you're gradually going to improve.
What does your diet look like? What's a day in the life of Coach Ryan look like for eating food?
Good question. I am super boring. I eat a lot of the same foods all the time just because my schedule is very wacky. So like I can tell you what I've had this morning already, which is Perfect Bar. All right, which is like a protein bar. It's just like has some nut butter in it. It's like 15 grams of protein. I had some yogurt with some berries, and then coffee and this electrolyte drink over here. So and then I'll eat lunch, usually with some protein, probably some vegetables, maybe some rice in there, and then I can't remember what we're having for dinner. That always fluctuates too. But for me, like I'm always thinking about, all right, where's my protein? So I just kind of build my diet around that.
We all know how important strength training is for long-term health.
but it can be hard to know where to start. I was in the same spot a year ago. You want to make sure you're doing exercises right, avoiding injury, and getting results, but it's easy to feel lost without a plan. That's when I found On Target Fitness. At On Target, you get a custom strength program, personalized attention in a small group setting, and the nutrition coaching you need for real lasting change. In the year I've been working out there, I've gotten stronger, more mobile, and more confident. My form has improved, and even something as simple as walking feels better. The group energy keeps me motivated, and every workout is fun. On Target just opened a new location in Kingston. Now you've got even more options to experience their amazing approach. If you're ready for lasting change, head to www.ontargetfit.com and schedule your session today. So your meals at for dinner are also based around the protein. You guys are eating like a lot of beef and a lot of chicken and
where we try to. We have to navigate some stuff with our kids, but we always try to. We're always trying to focus on protein.
Yeah, something that I learned about you is that you have a son who has some allergies, and you've had you're an allergy dad.
I'm an allergy dad. Yeah.
Well, what have you had to learn, and what has that process been like? I think that's a great learning for the audience here, for people who are going through that. I haven't gone through that yet. My son he loves everything, eats everything. Feel blessed.
Yeah. What's your son's favorite food?
My son's favorite food is, you want to know what? It is meat. He loves meat, and I would say that's his favorite right now. So this winter I do, if the winter time comes, I'm making beef stew, and I'm making it like 7 or 8 times. And that's a process. That's you got to do a lot of cooking, and then but it sits there. And so I love beef stew, and he just, had a good relationship with the meat, and now he loves steak. He loves meat. He loves,
great.
Burgers, but he's a pretty healthy, he eats pretty healthy, and he likes, he loves avocados, he loves mangoes, he loves every kid loves berries. Yeah. If you're having a kid, plant blueberries now, but it's like they eat so many berries, it's not even funny.
Oh, God, it's so expensive.
It's so expensive.
Just like, they don't warn you about that. Kids just destroy fruit. So that's one thing that we can have, which is good. So that's why loves blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, meat, avocados, and of course, he also, he doesn't, I don't completely restrict him away from the other stuff either. I will give him a decent popsicle, as long as the ingredients on it are decent, there's no dyes, and sometimes we make our own. I will give him some, if we're out, whatever, he can have some ice cream and stuff like that. So I'm not like, this is the only way you can eat is meat, avocado, and berries. No, he just eats a lot of that stuff. No, I think that's super important. You gotta start teaching how to moderate, and the parenting and food is it's such a hard thing, because at the end of the day, it's like you first need to give your children calories. If we can get some nutrient density in there, that's great too. But I need you to have some energy so you can go to school and not be really mean to your teachers. But so with, kind of going back to my son,
I want to jump in there just quick, because everyone looks at it now, and even me sometimes, that it's like this big insidious thing, that the way that the food has gone to become more the ultra processed stuff, and yes, the corporations eventually took advantage of us, and they're doing that now at full bore, and it's gone way too far. But it started as people needed food. People people were hungry, and people we needed a better way to get people that food that could last longer, and so there was some it was genuine at first, a little bit at least, and that you're right. Before, calories matter. Before, it's nice to have both. It's nice if you could have good food that is nutrient dense, and that's where you're getting your calories from.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that is something that gets lost for many people. There's a whole, we can go down there, but I think, yeah, it probably makes sense that like most of the calorie consumption should not be soda. You know, we have to figure out ways to help the kids get nutrient density with what they're consuming. But there's also like the whole personal preference thing. And this is why it's important to start coaching and working with your kids young, so they develop a palate, so they develop a taste for other foods. So we're constantly working on that with our kids because it's hard. And my wife has a nutrition degree as well. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like every situation's different. With him, he basically, when he was like 6 months old, we noticed he started getting like a bunch of rashes on his skin and stuff like that. And he ended up having, he just had a lot of different allergies. So he's like allergic to dairy. He's allergic to egg, mustard for a long time. He was allergic to wheat, which is a big one. He was allergic to sesame. So you got this whole like, peanut, tree nut, like the whole thing. So like from a very early age, like we're playing the game of like, how do we feed our son, right? And so we just started experimenting and trying to do a lot of different things to help him along. So like we were playing the like, no, we need to get calories game. And so we had to do, different types of formula, like the whole thing. So yeah, it's been a process. He's 5 now. But it just makes us really, really vigilant when we go to the grocery store. We have to read labels. We have to be careful at parties. We have to always have an EpiPen on us because dairy he's got an anaphylactic reaction to.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, he's had anaphylaxis. It's happened.
Well, so we've had to use the EpiPen twice over the 5 years. And when you do that, you have to go to the emergency room. He's got to stay there for a few hours. So that can be a scary thing for a little guy. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's so scary. I couldn't imagine. My son falls a little bit and, busts his lip. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine having to take him to the emergency room because his airway was, obstructed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scary. Do you think that he'll grow out of any of these? Can that happen? I know it can, have you seen any of that? Has that happened yet?
Yeah. So with a lot of them, we've been able to go through, he goes down regularly to Boston Children's and we work with the allergists down there. We had a separate thing that we had to deal with as well with them. But, so we've been working with them, and basically what they do is they, every now and again, they'll do a food challenge and they'll look at his lab values and say, all right, this is the next one on the list. And so we've been able to get some of those foods back. We've been able to get back wheat. So we got back wheat first, which was great. But then, kind of touching on the whole like food system thing, it's like there's this law passed a few years ago where the food companies have to label the allergens. So they made a big overhaul on all the labels. Now they explicitly say like this contains this allergen. But so
soy, wheat, and corn.
Well, so like any of the big 9, essentially.
Okay, yeah.
And so it forced the manufacturers to, and I may be like a little bit incorrect on this, but this is my understanding of it. I'll just say that. But basically, it forced the labeler or the food manufacturers to label the products, right? So rather than create a system where like that the food is healthy and safe, a lot of the manufacturers just started dosing their food with different allergens so they could create a product that they didn't have to label for and have as many restrictions. So even though we got wheat back, like he still couldn't have a hamburger bun because all of the hamburger buns are dosed with sesame flour. So it's a really wacky situation. So we have to be aware of that. Now, since that time, the following year, I think we did an almond challenge that he didn't end up passing, but it was nice to know like he's not that allergic to that. Then we did a sesame challenge, and we've been able to get sesame back. So it's become less of an issue, but we still have to be careful about the other things.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to deal with, man. It's like now, but you're doing it, so you guys are doing it, and what's his favorite food?
Good question. He's a big dino nugget. We had meatballs last night.
Nice.
So he smashes meatballs. Hot dogs, a lot of fruit. Do a lot of fruit. Cucumbers is his favorite, like vegetable, I guess, even though that one's got seeds, so technically a fruit, I guess. So yeah, we're always trying to diversify. He's got his things that he likes.
I've heard from somebody that there's some things that you like.
Oh, here we go.
I was told that I should ask you about your hot dog consumption.
Yep. Okay, so I don't know the exact time and reason I started this, but essentially, like, I decided that, like I'm a nutrition guy. Like, I like learning about nutrition. Why do I love hot dogs so much? So I like hot dogs, but I started essentially just only allowing myself to eat them on one day of the year, the 4th of July. All right, which has become quite the event. And so the last like few years, I've done like a whole bunch of Instagram posts and stuff on the 4th of July hot dog fiesta.
How many hot dogs are you eating on the 4th of July?
It's not as many as you think. I've eaten like 6 or 7.
Well, I was thinking like 2 or 3.
No. I'll do like 2 for breakfast. My father-in-law, he made me like a hot dog egg sandwich one year.
Nice.
Which was pretty sweet. He did that. Do like 2 or 3 for breakfast, 3 for lunch. And we'll like try and go around. Last year we went up to Flo's in Maine, which was great.
Yeah, it's nice. That's a nice little treat.
First in line up there, so that was cool.
That is cool. Joey Chestnut is making his way back to the competition. He got kicked out last year.
I heard that.
He got kicked out for because he was sponsoring like an Impossible Burger or whatever, and the Nathans were like, no,
Like, whoa,
yeah, no, we don't like you. And then, but he's coming back this year. Have you ever done like a hot dog eating contest?
No, and I wouldn't. I don't like eat to excess or anything like that. It's just.
What a crazy thing to eat to excess like that. I think I probably have tried to, I've been somewhere where I've said like, oh yeah, I could probably eat 12 hot dogs and, in this much time. And then somebody's like, oh, I'll fund it. And then they go buy 12 hot dogs because we're at the place where that can happen. And then next thing you know, you're like, shit, man, I could eat these 12, try to eat these 12 hot dogs. And you like throw up. And
no,
it's like,
thanks. I would rather not make myself feel like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it now. Like doing an eating challenge, I think that's a young man's game.
It must be. Yeah. No thanks.
Yeah. No thanks. And too, you're just disciplined. You're pretty disciplined, obviously, because you said that you love these hot dogs, but you give them. Your kids will eat some hot dogs sometimes, but that you still won't eat them. You won't grab a niblet for yourself.
Nope. No.
Yeah.
Do not do that.
See, that's where I need a little more discipline is in the kitchen, because like there's been periods of time, years, like, I've been in a 3-4 year run where I'm like just locked in, and like, that type of food that's not good for you. I just look at it like, that's not going to make my body feel good. I want nothing to do with it. Like, I know that I can get some good tasty food that's going to actually make my body feel great. But then sometimes like I'm in a situation where I'm just like, oh man, there's some muffins over there. I have some muffins in my house. I have some banana bread in my house. I'm just going to eat all of it tonight. So I still am working through that sometimes, and it ebbs and flows. That's not your experience?
No, not really. Like yeah, sure. Like I have a thing, like if my wife buys like Oreos or something for the kids or whatever, because they have this whole thing where it's like that they want to treat after dinner.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it'll be like 7 chocolate chips, and we're like, okay. Or like on Father's Day, they made me some cupcakes.
Yeah.
Like I have like certain things I like that like, hey, you should not have those in the house, which is a good rule for people. If you like cannot help yourself, just get it out of the house. All right, you're going to be a lot better off. So like the thing for me is like if my wife buys Oreos, I can't, like I cannot be around them.
I don't want to know where they are.
Yeah, but like for me, it's like I'll have like 3, and then I'm cool. I'm satisfied.
Yeah. See that's where the line is different between you and I. It's like I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, like you can't have candy just like in the house. Like you can't just have like the bag of Reese's just like in the house. Cause like I want to eat 3. I would eat 10, And so like, that's what candy for me. Candy is just like, ooh, candy, candy, candy. So I said, like, if you want, and she's like, well, no, I should be able to, cause she can have one in a month, whatever. Like,
Right.
which is whacked out to me. Cause it's like, whoa, how can you have that great discipline? And then there's other ways where it's like, I'm so much more disciplined than her in other ways. But with the food, man, I struggle with it a lot. I think there's some type of dopamine, relationship that some of us have with it.
I think that's part of it, and we all get that from different places, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
We all have our things that we like.
Cannabis products are becoming more popular every day. Whether you're looking for the best night's sleep, trying to mitigate daily stress, or just trying to enjoy some laughter with friends, OG Cannabis is the store for you. OG Cannabis has an unbiased approach that is unique and simple. Unlike the competition, they don't sell their own manufactured products, but instead proudly showcase the best vendors across Maine. A dispensary like no other. Come and visit today at 18 American Way, Elliott, Maine. OG Cannabis. Oh, and don't forget to use my promo code, Dr. BeeWell. See you guys there. Giddy up.
Yeah, reframing the brain, training the brain to like, that's why it's like, like addictions or whatever. It's like, you can be, you don't ever want to be addicted to anything, but if you have, if you're addicted to food, then you can be addicted to weightlifting, and you can be addicted to showing up for yourself, and you can be addicted to feeling good in your body. And so it's just about like reframing what that, that dopamine, because you're getting dopamine from doing a workout, you're getting longer lasting dopamine from doing a workout. It's not quick. It's not cheap. It's not, fleeting. Like, like the sugar is. So just trying to chase the right things.
Yeah. And having the understanding that like, if you're trying to make some sort of change, like it's not going to happen like that. Like you gotta like work at it for a little while, because you can't just replace that one thing, because there's a lot of emotions and there's a lot of like other stuff that's really deep for a lot of people, especially with food. So you've got to be willing to, like, again, going back to this whole thing, it's like you got to give it some runway and try and work at it for a long time. And then you said something the other, like a little while ago, about like this 3 or 4 year period that you've been working on this stuff. It's like, it's okay to like focus on something really hard for a short amount of time, see what you can do. Like if you really like get after it for a short, maybe a few months even, it's like you never know what you're going to learn, and you never know what you're going to take and build along the way, if I'm making any sense.
Big time sense.
Because a lot of people, they kind of like dip their toe in the water, right? And then they like stay there, but they don't actually like ever like fully jump in the pool. You know what I mean? So you've got to like be willing to do that and explore it, because then you never really know where you're going to get.
I'm definitely always learning that lesson, because I like I said, there's times where I have locked into certain things, and the learning that you get from it. Like I said, I'm a guy who can now, because of that 3 to 4 year period, I'm a person who can eat food and have an understanding of exactly how it affects my energy level and the way that I feel in my body, my output. because I learned that. I learned that because I was locked in, and that I know you're talking about like a shorter bursts of time, is that what you're saying? Like shorter bursts of time, or can it be?
It's either way. I'm just saying, like, you've got to be willing to give yourself that opportunity, right? And like, what do you think the average? I don't have the answer, by the way. Like, what do you think the average time that somebody actually like spends working on a diet or a nutrition plan or like some sort of fitness routine? Like, what's the average time? Like, somebody's like starting from zero, they work on it.
30 to 60 days.
Like, for a lot of people, it's probably not even that long.
Yeah, it's probably 2 weeks. I've been there. Yeah, I've been there too. When I've tried to, when I thought that was the way for fitness.
Because it's hard. Like, all this stuff's hard. Nutrition's hard. Fitness is hard. And then you put that with all the other life responsibilities. It's like the first thing that's going to go for somebody if they don't have help, right, or somebody else, right? Or the first thing that's going to go is like that nutrition plan when stuff gets hard. So it's important that you like give yourself some time to learn, figure it out. And I always talk about this with people. If somebody asks me a question, like, how long is this going to take? How long will I need to focus on this before I actually get some results? And like, follow-up question is like, well, what do you mean by results? Like, for a lot of folks, it takes like 6 months to like develop a really good base of skills. And like, that's the whole like confidence thing we were talking about earlier. It's like getting the skills up so you can actually understand what you're doing is really important. And sometimes people just don't give it enough time.
One of those skills can be showing up for yourself, learning how to show up for yourself, because a lot of people think, like, especially with fitness and nutrition, it's the first thing that falls off because we're busy or whatever. We need to do other things, and learning how to prioritize that is like the greatest skill that I think I've learned in my life, to be honest, because I knew, like I said, dude, at first when I started working out with you guys, like, it was subconscious, and I didn't actually feel this way, but it was frustrating because I'm like, not frustrating, but I knew that it was slower than I would have liked in terms of my learning. I was a guy in high school. I was a great high school football player. I could lift bigger weight. Moved it around, and like didn't ever pay attention to what was happening when I was doing it. Then it just was happening. Like, I knew how to use my body. Then I stopped doing that for a long time. I come to your gym and I'm like, don't even have the right form or structure to put up, 65 pounds on the bench, and it's like, I just needed, but I had the learning to that. I knew that I needed to give myself the grace and keep showing up. I'd already learned that skill to keep showing up for myself and learned how to show up for myself. And so then I'm starting to turn the corner on like using the skills, all the competency, showing up for myself, and all the stuff that you guys have taught me on how to lift weights in a right way. All the little things that you've said to me 100 times are landing in my body now, and I'm building muscle and getting stronger, and I'm getting to see it. But it takes time, and people, we're in such an instant gratification society, instant gratification world, that people don't. I was lucky. I was lucky to know, like, for not, when I first started my fitness journey, 8-9 years ago, when I had that weight loss, I learned, like, oh my God, you just are supposed to learn how to feel good in your body. That is the lesson that I'm going to take for this. That's what I'm going to take from this. And this is an important one. And if I do that, the rest of the stuff will follow if I just keep showing up. And so I was lucky enough to learn that one. And now I'm learning the competency lesson. Like, I'm getting better. I'm paying attention to my yoga more. I'm paying attention to the way that I lift weights and the way that I move my body in space, the way I hold my body in space. And it's like, it's such a progressive thing over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, do you remember the first time you drove a car? I was thinking about an analogy to use.
Yeah. I remember the first time I drove a car. Absolutely, I do.
Were you good at it?
Yeah, no,
No,
I know. I would say better than most people who are driving their car for the first time.
I was so nervous. Like I was like shaking on the wheel. I couldn't even find the gas pedal. And my dad was just like, just take your time. Like that's kind of what it is. It's just, you got to be willing to like take your time with it. Otherwise you're going to be so nervous the whole time. You're not going to learn anything. And like, that's where the progression comes from.
Yeah, you can learn it, and like too, there's different ways, right? When we think about learning, we always think about like the mind learning, but you already said it. Like the body stores like a ton of emotions and trauma in it, and that stuff that we just carry with us that we don't necessarily know why. And when we're physically lifting weights, it can help us work through all that stuff, but we have to pay attention because it can also create like compensation patterns in our body because we're used to moving in a certain way.
Yeah. Yep.
What's the what's a normal amount of time? Like you've probably seen some incredible success stories, doing what you do. What you don't have to say any names or anything like that, but I'd love to have you share one with me where you've seen some great success with somebody.
Oh man. It really depends. I think the most success that we have are with the people that just kind of go all in. And we've had several people do that throughout the years that we've been in business. I'll tell you one. Basically, this person in the past year has just essentially like made this the main focus of what they're doing. They're still doing the job and they're doing what they need to do, but everything is like revolving around them. Like they're prioritizing themselves. So doesn't miss workouts, eats well, eats enough protein, has lost over 100 pounds in this past year, right? And the lesson was it just took a long time for them to realize that they needed to focus on themselves. And like, we don't do anything special. We teach people how to lift weights and show up to the gym and pay attention to certain nutrition things. But it really starts up here for a lot of people. And yeah, I'm really proud.
Yeah, what a cool job to like be impacting people's lives. I've waxed poetic on the on the podcast already, and now you're telling me these. You helping people feel better in their bodies. Like that's such a, I try to do it through conversation and through hearing people and listening to what they say, and having thoughtful discourse back and forth, and that's a great way too. But to physically affect somebody's body in the way that they're feeling so that they can move better, they can do all the stuff that they want to do in their life better. Like it's so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, you said it. It's like so that they can do what they want to do. And I think that's so important because like, regardless if you like coming to the gym or not, like, hopefully you like it enough to keep coming. But at the same time, like, we want to help you like actually do the things you want to. So whether that's play with your kids, whether that's like wear the dress at your daughter or son's wedding, like, or whether that's be able to get up and down off the floor, like all those things are super important. I'll tell you a quick story about this, right? So this was like one of the more powerful lessons that I've learned being a trainer, right? So I had this client before I was at On Target Fitness. Basically, I was like maybe like two or 3 years into my career, and I was just like very dialed in on all the X's and O's of like training, like, and I have since simplified my approach with a lot of this stuff, but effectively my client was like an older gentleman. He had had a hard career, really banged up, body, like a lot of joint pain, things like that. And then like after I worked with him for maybe 3 months, I think I saw him 2 or 3 times a week, right? He came in, he was like fired up, ecstatic. He came in, he's like, Ryan, you'll never guess what I did this morning. And I literally couldn't guess because it was so random. He was like, I stood in my shower while I was taking a shower. I stood on my foot and I washed the bottoms of my feet with soap. And I was like, all right, that's awesome. But he was like so fired up about it. And then I was like thinking about it later. I was like, man, like if that's what it takes to make somebody happy, then I'm like all in. This is awesome. And so like I was just doing my normal thing. But like my point is like you never really know what people want to do or like the goals that they might have. But like, yeah, like you said, it's really cool what we get to be able to do.
Let me introduce you to Elevate, a premium functional mushroom company focused on supporting your highest potential. They offer a range of powerful supplements crafted from the finest medicinal fungi designed to naturally enhance your well-being. Elevate carries everything from mushroom tinctures, capsules, and teas to their delicious mushroom-infused coffees. All of their products are made with USA-grown mushrooms and contain only wild medicinal mushrooms, no psychoactive compounds. I personally use their Focus Tincture every day and love their chai tea blend. It's my go-to for a calming yet energizing boost. Elevate's products support mental clarity, immunity, and overall vitality. They ship nationwide, so whether you're new to functional mushrooms or already a fan, Elevate has something for you. Check them out at shopelevatemushrooms.com, where you will find a detailed description of each product and experience the difference for yourself.
What people get to see happen in their body when they do that stuff, man, and when they do this working out, like you said, I can relate with that, right? Like I can relate with like, oh, you have the strength and the mobility and the stamina to be able to take your foot and wash, and now you can, like for me, I always just didn't realize, but I'd always like, sit down to put my shoes, or I'd like bend down like a forward fold to put my shoes on. And now it's like I can stand up in mountain pose and, bring that leg up and bring my leg, my shoe down and tie it while my leg's like in the air. And it's these little things that you kind of notice and you get to learn. And the cool thing about it is if you stay at it, it's progressive.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps getting better. It keeps getting better. You keep learning all these new things and these new ways to move your body and things that you can do. Like I never thought that I'd be able to surf. And then I was, just because I never was able to understand how they got their bodies up, and like doing and then start doing burpees, and then I started doing yoga, and, I started doing, chaturangas and yoga, and it's like, oh man, I can do this. And then, and then I surfed and I did it. And so it's like this cool, yeah, you can keep learning and yeah, if it's just, we get so caught up in like all this stuff, right? Like that for happiness and what makes us happy. And the thing is, if you can give somebody freedom of movement in their body and strength, they're going to be pretty happy people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's so empowering to be able to just decide to go do something that you want to do. And for us to have a small portion to be able to, piece of giving that back to somebody is really, really valuable.
Yeah, dude. It's like, this morning I was working out and I was doing eccentric, pull-ups.
Yep.
And like pull-ups is like a thing that I wasn't even, I wasn't able to do. And we've been doing the eccentrics now for a little while, and I was never able to do a pull-up. I can never do a pull-up. And then the other day I was just like at a place where it was like a monkey bars or something, and I just like was like, oh, maybe I should try this. Maybe I could do one. Maybe I could do one. I'm getting stronger. And I did a pull-up.
Yeah.
I did a pull-up, and I'm like, oh man, look at my body, look at this go, look at this thing. And the like just learning how to hold my body in a different way with the strength, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's good. Sometimes we'll take the kids to like a playground or something, and I'll just like rip off a set of pull-ups, and I know like people are like, come on, like, but I kind of like don't care. Just let's pull-ups in right now.
Dude, I don't think you should care at all. I don't think you should care at all. They should have made it look like a gym if it and if they didn't want us to do pull-ups on it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it too. I love that you're a dad and that you're just going. You're in a similar place as me, and I have my second kid coming, and that's managing a business and running a family. There's a lot of challenges to that, and especially with having kind of a schedule that's not you get to create your schedule, but it's not always consistent, right? Or is it consistent?
It's relatively consistent. We have the added layer of like my wife also has a challenging schedule for her job. So sometimes I have to adjust because she needs to be away or she just has a particularly challenging schedule that day. She also works long hours. So that's just something that we've always dealt with and will continue to. So we're both kind of like have just decided that no, we're just going to pick careers that we like doing.
Yeah.
And something that makes us, feel like we're giving some value to the world. And that's great. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
I think it's a great thing to teach your kids, a great thing to teach your community. Who's the better nutritionist, you or your wife?
Oh, that's such a funny question. I'm going to go with me.
Okay. Why?
I really don't want to
you don't have to.
I don't want to put Meg out like that.
I'm the better nutritionist than my wife, and that's just because I've paid more attention to my own body and how the food's affected me and how it's felt, and it has affected me more than food has affected my wife. Like my wife has been vegetarian for a long time. She just crushes pasta, and she's healthy, and she has like great labs and great bone density and everything. She eats plenty of dairy and stuff, but that's what works for her. And so but when I see it, I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Like I think that all this stuff, we need more fruits and vegetables. We need more, we need more meat. We need it to be sourced this way.
Yeah, and I think that's a lesson that we're trying to teach our kids as well. Is like the whole hey, there's no goods and bads. Like we don't need to moralize food. Like I think we got to have healthy boundaries with the types of selections we make, and and like you said, it's a challenge to teach your kids that, but we try and keep it in a box, I guess we'll say.
Are you always coaching everybody? Because you're like the stuff that you've learned, like you coaching your kids in like the same way that you coach us at the gym?
Another funny question. Yeah, so like my wife and I can't work out together because she giggles too much and she doesn't take me seriously because I'll be like, hey, do this, and this, and that. She's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. But I do have to turn it off sometimes, but I've always just had the mindset. It's like, hey, if we can do this better, let's do it better.
Not everybody loves that mindset, dude.
Yes, not everybody likes that. And I again, it's like I have to learn that and have some balance. So I get it.
Yeah, I get it too, dude. It's like it would just with me is like with everything, and then sometimes I'll say something and it'll be like I'm not saying it to make anybody feel bad. I'm just saying it because we can improve this in the future. Maybe this process could get better into the future. That's the only reason I'm saying it.
Yep. And like you said, not everybody appreciates that. So I gotta temper that sometimes.
Yeah, it's sometimes and I've learned that, and I've learned that there's value in the balance too. There's value in the other person's perspective. Is like sometimes we don't need to keep improving every process.
Well, totally. And like you said, I'm fairly disciplined, but at the same time, sometimes it's okay to hey, just relax and chill, have a beer, and it's okay. Everybody's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Exactly. You got to put yourself in that mindset sometimes, and it's I think too, just with the way that culture and society has transformed. It's the people who were on 20 years ago, those type of people. like now it's like we're always going to be on. There's just so much stimulation. There's so much ways that we can learn and we can do better and we can figure out better ways to improve and so like, yeah, you got to learn how to turn it off, dude. That's a lesson I'm always trying to learn.
Yeah, one of my good friends, Sean, he said something smart the other day to me, and it's not like I haven't done this, but he's like actively pursuing this process for it. Like, he's like, I asked him, just like, hey, what podcasts are you listening to? What books are you reading? Things like that. He's like, well, I'm not really doing anything right now because I'm just trying to focus on, if I'm doing one thing, I'm just doing that thing. So, and I thought that was really smart. And I was like, that's cool that you're working on that, man. Because like, we kind of get bogged down with all of the inputs, right? So whether you're doing the dishes, trying to get a podcast in, and then you're feeding your kids or whatever, a lot of input. So sometimes it's okay to like just, hey, like remove some of those and just focus on being where you're at.
Constantly trying to change our realities, from what it is sometimes. And sometimes our reality is time to do the dishes.
Yeah.
Do the dishes. Chop wood, carry water.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you gotta sometimes, man. Like it's so funny. Because I run into that a lot too. I'm like trying to maximize and trying to always. And so your buddy's, he's good to think that too, because there's a lot of healing that can come from that. There's a lot of healing that can come from being present and being in touch with your body and just saying like, oh, I don't need to be thinking of anything else. I just need to be right here in this space. That's actually how I am able to get into certain like healing states, is when I just am, I feel like I'm doing like deep myofascial work. Maybe I have my foam roller. I have a couple of balls. I've been doing some holotropic breathing, some cadenced breathing for a while. And then your body, because you're not thinking about anything else, you can drop into a state where you're really healing. And what I've learned is that I can do that when I'm driving. I can do that when I'm doing the dishes. I can do that not necessarily when the kids asking for dinner, because that's like an engagement thing. But when I'm doing something on my own, and it's something that normally I vacuuming or gardening or something that I might have thought it was tedious prior. And definitely don't think gardening can be tedious. But I love to garden. And so, yeah, I just learned that you can, like, through that process of actually being present is not searching for like the next thing, is what actually can make you like greater and have more abundance.
Yeah. There's like a couple good books I read on that like a few years ago, and that really retooled my mindset around it. I'm not the best at it because I'm like we're all busy, but like I'm trying to like figure out places where I can get my education in. But like kids are a nice reminder. Sometimes they just like will do something and you're like, cool, I'm going to put my headphones down. I'm going to go do that now, because it's important that you are present, especially trying to teach that lesson to them. I mean, we're going to have such a hard time trying to teach our kids how to like just pay attention and be in the moment, because everything is trying to grab attention these days. So that's something that I'm always trying to remind myself of, get a little bit better at, for sure.
Yeah, the kids, like when you get to drop in with them, what a gift. When you see them, like you said, when you see them doing something and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to be in this other reality listening to this podcast or whatever. I'm supposed to be going and playing with those trucks and finding out who Cursey Man is and why Cursey Man's going to the gas station.
Yeah. And, we have the two kids, and then now they're like playing with each other, and they're like, imagining these silly games. And like you walk in, what are you guys doing? I'm like, and then they'll explain the game. I'm like, I'm lost already, but it's awesome.
Right. It's awesome.
Because they understand each other, and it's hilarious. It's really cool.
Yeah, dude. Just like kids are, if you're thinking about kids and you are not sure, but you think you might want them, fucking send it. Send it.
Yeah.
Because it's so good, right, dude?
It's the best feeling. It's so great.
I wasn't
hard.
sure. It's the hardest thing. Yeah, it's like what everyone says too. It's like everyone would always say to me, like, it's the hardest thing, but the best thing. And like you won't know until you have a kid. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm the most empathetic guy of all time. So I think I do know what it's gonna be like. I think I do know what it's like to care for another person, and I'm gonna know that if that's my kid, I'm gonna care for me. Yeah, no clue. I had no clue.
Yeah, you have no idea until you're in.
You're in it, you're like, oh wow, this is like so hard, but so awesome, and so like, I want to get home. I want to see him. I want to spend time with him, and excited for the second baby that we got coming. Like it's all good and it's all hard, but it gives you a perspective on life that is like, not that it wasn't worth living before, because of course it was, but it's like it's juiced up.
Well, I mean, now you have a little bit, got a little bit of extra motivation to be a little bit better, be a little bit more patient, to try and find a little bit more energy, because you're there for them.
Right. The little bit of energy, my son's just like, you get home, you're tired, going through your day, whatever. Then you get home and you're just like, well, let's go back outside. Let's go play. It's like, all right, let's do it. You got to do it. You got to find it. Dig deep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure do.
I love it. I love it. How often do you lift by yourself, like, on your own? Like, how do you keep yourself and your, like your coaches? And because like, obviously I know that you guys have to, be continuing your own practice, in terms of lifting and strength training. But you're always training other people. So I don't know when you do it.
Well, I think each of our coaches are a little bit different. I can only speak to myself, but I'm trying to lift 2 or 3 days a week. I play soccer. Have this kind of calendar above my desk, which tracks my activities from every day. So 2 years ago, I kind of set a goal that was basically like, I want to do something every day. So whether it's a walk, whether it's a lift, mountain bike, ski, whatever, just play soccer, whatever the activity is, I try to log something every day. Failed miserably, but it was kind of a fun practice, because it was like, all right, I'm going to set this goal really high, and then at the end of the year, you tally the workouts up and see where you landed. So I'm doing that again, and so I'm trying to lift 2 or 3 days a week. Like I said, I play soccer once a week. Did a mountain bike ride yesterday with my wife for our anniversary. That was, shout out to Meg.
Happy anniversary.
So that was really fun. So yeah, it always varies.
June's a great month. June's a great month for a birthday, for an anniversary, for anything.
Yep. It's a good month. And we had an unbelievable wedding 7 years ago. So we'll always look back at it fondly.
Yes. I love that. It's amazing.
How long have you been married?
I've been married since 2000, and this will be my second wedding anniversary this year. Only 2 years, but I've been with my wife for 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've been together forever, but we just didn't get met. We had the baby beforehand. So my son, we had this in 2022, and then in 2023 we got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It was funny. We were waiting to get married, but we weren't waiting. She was ready to get married. I just was, I guess I was waiting, because I wanted to. I always knew I was going to marry her, but I just hadn't done it yet. And then we got pregnant, and it was perfect, because we had already we had a long engagement. We were engaged from 2021 to 2023, but it was perfect because of COVID. All the wedding venues in 2022, you weren't able to get any venue, and we were like, whatever, we'll just do it the next, we'll just be, we'll have an awesome summer, we'll be engaged for, another year or whatever, and we'll just get married the next summer, because we wanted to get married at a specific place, at the Seco Science Center in Rye. Awesome spot over there. And so, it's so funny, because back in the day, having a child out of wedlock, if you're not, it was such a thing. And then, quickly, it just was never a thing for us. Never, no one even said it.
Forced your hand a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But no, man, we're super lucky to have my family, and I think that that's what we, like you said, as a dad and somebody who cares about, the community, and cares about where the world is going. Like, you know, I just want more parents to be able to feel empowered so that they can, you know, they can do what they need to do every day to be good parents. And like, that's what like everyone who I meet over at, you know, not everyone, but most people who I'm chatting with over at your gym, they're parents, you know, they're people who are business owners, you know, they're people in the community who want to strengthen themselves so that they can live a more fulfilled life and show up for their people more.
100%. And I think that's, again, that's such an important part of what we do and what Alec and I always talk about. It's like, how can we help more of these people? Because, you know, I don't know, for whatever reason, this has been showing up on my feed. It's like the whole question, it's like, oh, well, would you die for your kids? Right. And the thing is like, of course, if that situation presents itself, but it's like, what about maybe just like exercising 2 or 3 times a week? Can you give like a half an hour to 45 minutes just to like make yourself a little bit healthier? Because long term, that's going to be really powerful if you think about yourself in the future. Because we all want more time. So let's try and spend some of that time now so we can have some more time later.
That's beautiful, brother. That's beautiful. Yeah, you know, if you're willing to die for your kids, then you should be willing to show up for yourself 30 minutes and show up for them 30 to 45 minutes, you know, 2 or 3 times a week.
It's not that hard. I understand that the commitment to do it can be hard, but it doesn't take much just to help your overall health outcomes.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to get jacked up like this. You know, we're talking. You know, that's the other thing too. Is I think the you know, the leap that I've taken. My wife, you know, she did say to me, like, you know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, she was like,
too jacked.
No. This is before the I had that going this way. You know, it was before I started to like the workout started to produce the muscles and the strength that, like, you know, because when I was working out, I was, for a while, I just stagnant. You know, not stagnant, but I just there was just like, I was learning. I was just learning how to lift weights again. And then now I'm kind of learned a little bit, and now I'm like, you know, juiced up. But I think she also put it in my head because she said, like, you work out a lot and you have pretty skinny arms. That's what she said.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. But then she changed her mind, and she says, you know, now she says that they're jacked up. So
okay,
you know, if people want to go get jacked up, you know, get over to On Target, because it's happening over there.
We try.
Well, Ryan, I've had an absolute blast chatting with you today and learning with you, you know, over the course of our relationship. I hope that people will listen to this episode and they will, you know, realize that they're worth it, that they're worth being able to go and spend time on themselves. And if they need help with, you know, with one of those programs, you know, On Target, you know, they've been a sponsor of the show, you know, since its inception, and they've just been incredible partners, incredible people, helping me get my body ready to, you know, to live my life and to the fullest. So, you know, thank you. And where can the people find you, you know, in your business?
Honestly, they just go to our website. Is the easiest place, ontargetfit.com. They'll be able to essentially just pick what gym they're interested in. We'll take care of the rest.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, brother. I appreciate you a lot.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Guys, please go to ontargetfit.com. Check these guys out. Follow them on social, On Target Fitness. They are awesome. They have some funny videos. They have some great videos of us doing the giddy up. And until next time, we will see you. Giddy up.